Welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I'm Shannon Penrod.
And I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson. Welcome.
And so thrilled to be here with you, my friend.
Thrilled to be here with you.
I'm a little bit, like what else is new? I go from cold to cold to cold.
Right. And it's monsoon outside here in Los Angeles.
It is monsoon weather. I hadn't thought of it, but that's exactly what it is. It's monsoon weather. Apparently tomorrow it's going to be the worst storm of the century so far in Los Angeles. That's what they've been saying. We had a storm last year that was intense.
That was very intense.
And I remember they were talking about it for days, and I was like, man,
I know.
How bad can it be?
How bad can rain be, right?
And I brought Jem to work that day. He didn't have school. And I remember we drove home, and he said it's like being in a video game, only it's real.
No, it's because like a tornado.
We have all the palm trees, and the husks come off of them, and they fill the street, and we were having to drive around the husks.
It was horrible. I had an IEP that day.
Woo!
And I remember going inside
in the
pouring rain. Yeah, it was just awful.
It was full on nuts. And the rain goes sideways, and then it'll switch directions, and you feel like you're in one of those showers.
So that's going to happen tomorrow again?
They've said it's really, it's crazy. I'm on a plane tomorrow, so that can't be good.
No.
Hopefully we'll get out of LA before it gets too bad.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Because I don't fly well, but okay. Anyway, we got a big show here.
We've got a couple of guests today.
Yeah, we sure do. We've got Shelly Hendricks is going to be with us, and she's amazing. We just love her, and she's got a couple of different things that she's going to talk to us about. In particular, a driving thing that's something really exciting.
That she has down in Louisiana.
Yeah, and but then also about some things on the horizon for her, and things that they're. Both of our guests, what they have in common is that both of them live in communities where a group of people have gotten together and said, looks like we're going to need a plan here.
Yes.
And what are we going to do about it? And I'll tell you what, I've got a barn and I can do this. What do you have? Oh, you have this, we can do this. And the communities are working together. And when communities do that, I'm telling you.
Miracles happen.
It does. So we've got Shelly Hendricks, and then we have Janny Meyer from the Fullerton School District.
Fullerton School District.
She's going to be with us talking about what they're doing in Fullerton. So that's what we've got going on.
She's the board vice president of the Fullerton School District.
Can you imagine? I mean, I'm sorry, but can you imagine living in a community where the school board members are so excited to get involved in an autism event and charity? Like, can we all just imagine that for just a moment?
Great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Fullerton has really made autism a priority. Yeah.
Yes, Fullerton is. I always say Fullerton is on my short list for retirement because it's so awesome. Fullerton is awesome, but it's awesome because of the people in it and the decisions that they've decided to do together. And the rest of us have to look at that and go, all right, what did they do? Is there a way that we can follow in their footsteps?
Yeah.
So anyway,
we'll talk to her about Mardi Gras. We have some stories in the news,
And should we start with the worst one first?
Yeah, this is very disturbing.
Yeah. So in Texas, because Texas doesn't have enough going on the last few days, a Texas deputy has been accused of punching a 12-year-old girl on the autism spectrum. This story, I am what the British call it gobsmacked, right? Absolutely gobsmacked. So there's this.
It says he's a former Texas
but he was a deputy, and
sheriff's deputy
was drinking.
Yes, all day apparently.
According to him, he was quoted as saying that he was drinking all day
at a barbecue restaurant in North Austin, Texas.
And this gentleman who brings wood to the restaurant showed up at the restaurant with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's daughter, who's 12 and on the spectrum, and they had a dog with them. And the little girl, 12, she's still a little girl, is playing with the dog, and this deputy pounced on her and started punching her in the face, according to witnesses. And several people were like, what the what? And tried, grown men were trying to pull him off of her and having a difficulty doing it. And so the boyfriend stepped in and kicked
him with his boot and knocked him out. Good for him.
Sounds like Texas vigilante. Now, the thing that's crazy to me about this is that they say that he's in trouble with the law. And I'm like, trouble with the law, why is he not locked up?
Exactly.
What? Like,
yeah, how somebody could accost a 12-year-old girl with autism and not be put into jail for that is crazy.
and I gotta say, here in California, if that were to happen, unfortunately, both he would be in jail and the boyfriend would be in jail because he kicked and knocked out the other person. And then they would have to sort it out whether he was saving her life and whatever. But I don't understand why this guy is not locked up.
No, I don't either.
And I don't understand, I don't care how much you've had to drink, why you decide to punch a 12-year-old girl. Craziness,
Crazy.
right? Crazy. Okay, so we'll keep you posted on that because hopefully this guy is going to get a tremendous amount of help that involves bars and some time away.
And then we have a science news story.
Yes, and it's one of those that hurts your head,
Yes,
right? A little
once
bit.
again, the language involved here. Researchers link defects in a nuclear receptor in the brain to autism spectrum disorders.
Yeah, and so we keep figuring out more and more to the genetic components. But basically, they're looking at this one particular place in the brain's hippocampus.
Good pronunciation there,
thank you.
hippocampus.
And it's called the liver X receptor beta. Now, didn't you need to know that? Because that'll help you sleep tonight, right? But basically, they're seeing that when this thing is turned off, you get autism. And if this thing is turned on, you don't. Now, that seems like now this is only in mouse model. But that's pretty pivotal.
Yes.
Because we keep looking at genes involved and SHANK3 and all these other things. But this is that we're getting down to it at this point. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you want to know more, it's in Science Daily. It's coming to us from the University of Houston, and it's in their science news. So you can read all up about that if you want to know more. And then I love this last story.
Oh, this is really cool. It's great. There's an exhibition called Through Their Eyes, and it's a photography exhibition, and it features photography from 10 children with ASD from Starkville. What state did you say Starkville was in?
Mississippi. This is in Mississippi.
Okay, and it was founded by 2 mothers.
I love this. We always are trying to get point of view, right? The whole perspective taking, we know that can be a challenge for people on the autism spectrum, but the truth of the matter is a challenge for all of us, right? And I always, as a mom, and I know you're the same way, Nancy, we want to be able to see the world through our kids' eyes, right? Because we know that they see the world differently than us. We just don't know how. And you have a child who's a painter, so you get a window on a daily basis into how he sees the world. And it's fascinating, right? When Jem was younger, he loved to take photographs. And we gave him a camera and just let him take a million photographs. And it was fascinating. You can tell, like I would take pictures. Originally, we were taking pictures on the same camera. And I would take pictures and he would take pictures. But afterwards, I could look at them and I would know which ones he took and which ones I took. They were so different.
Right.
And that's what they found here, too. They gave these cameras to kids and they saw things they hadn't seen.
Right. They first started it with their own children. And Jennifer Seltzer, and Diana Outlaw, they both noticed that when their children took pictures, they took very different things, not typical things. Typically not big, broad pictures, but more detailed.
Absolutely. I meant to we put together a coffee table book. We only ever, got one of them done that's called Through Jem's Eyes. And so I find that really funny that it's the same thing. They named it Through Their Eyes. And it's just pictures that he took. And like there are pictures of a leaf where he's like so up close, or pictures of a drain. And you can see, if you look up this article or just Google Through Your Eyes, you can see some pictures that they have from it. It's just, look in the background there. You can see these fascinating point of view perspective photographs. It's just like the ceiling fan there. That is so a picture, or taking a picture of somebody's knees in the back seat.
Right.
and yet the composition on them is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. I absolutely love this. I want to encourage people, if you're in Mississippi, go to this. But, what a great idea for somebody to do for a fundraiser is to give a bunch of cameras to a bunch of kids and do something like this. You could do that very affordably. And if you aren't interested in that, just give your child a camera and ask them to take some pictures, and I guarantee that you'll see things in a different way that maybe you hadn't seen before. Absolutely love that these two moms got this done. What a wonderful thing. See, when you put two autism moms together, stuff happens.
Something happens.
Something happens. In any case, we've got so much to do. We've got to move this along. We're going to take a short break.
We'll come back with Shelley Hendricks.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Are those your eyes? Is that your smile? I've been looking at you forever, yet I never saw you before. Are these your hands? As a celebrity, whatever that means, you want to do what you can to give back. The way I've always looked at it, if I'm available, I'm going to be there. And when you get there and you see what folks are doing and the lives that they're touching, how can you not want to continue to be a part of it? And for the first time, I am looking in your eyes. What can we all do to make a difference? Not only with trying to find a cure, but to help the children and the families that may not have the resources for these kids. When you're looking back at me, now I understand what... None of us are doing enough, but I think that we're doing as much as we possibly can. Because we all live in a society, and the more we can all do to help society, the more it helps all of us. And for the first time, I am looking in your eyes, and for the first time, I'm seeing who you are. I can't believe how much I see when you're looking back at me. Now I understand what love is. Love is for the first time.
And welcome back. And now we are joined by a very special guest, our friend Shelley Hendricks, who is an autism advocate who has always been up to great things. And we're going to get an update today on some of her recent activities.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the show, Shelley.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you guys again.
We're so thrilled to have you here. And I understand we've got a lot to talk about. But first, let's talk. You've got a great story about autism and driving. Tell us what the scoop is.
So, this is really exciting, and science is real, y'all. It's like a real thing. And sometimes it takes a long time, but it is amazing when you see something go from an idea all the way through the research and then actually manifest into something that creates a solution for any community, but especially for our community. So, I sit on the Department of Defense has an autism research panel. And it's a really great program, and one of the things that I love about it so much is that they consider consumer input just as, they weigh that just as heavily when they're making the decision of what they're going to fund as they do with scientists and researchers and people who know all the things about blood and guts and pathogens. And I'm a mom. I have a 22-year-old son with autism. I have 0 initials behind my name. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I get to sit on this committee and I get to say, this is something that's important for our community or not. And a couple of years ago, we had a proposal that was presented by Dr. Daniel Cox from the University of Virginia. And he had worked in the area of PTSD and traumatic brain injury and had developed a virtual reality driving mechanism that was helping rehabilitate people who had those injuries were able to ascertain if they would be able to get a driver's license again and polish up their skills to be able to go get a driver's license. And if you live in a city that's a big city that has a metro transportation that's solid and working and good, that's great. But there's a lot of problems in the flyover states, especially with not having significant metro transportation, and that can infringe on our guys' ability or our girls' ability to be able to have more independence. And so as much as Liam enjoys riding in the car with me, he super wants to drive, which terrifies me, full disclosure, but he always tells me what a responsible driver he would be. So, so when Dr. Cox's proposal came up, I really championed it to the committee, and I said, you know, this is something that could be really life-changing, and it could fit within our mission, which is to change the lives for people living with autism now. This is something we could change now. We could help them gain their independence in driving. So he got the pilot, and then he came back for more funding, and we voted on that, and I advocated for it again. And he developed a virtual reality system that was designed specifically for individuals with autism. And so I sit on a committee here in Baton Rouge with our community college, and they had a surplus of funds last spring, and they were like, we've bought all the iPads we can get, we've got all the stuff, we have this little extra surplus, does anybody have any ideas on how we could spend it? And so I raised my hand and I said, well, this is a kooky idea, but I know this guy's been working on this project, why don't we call him and see if he's ready for a commercial application yet? So I called Dr. Cox, and he was like, let's do this. So they flew up there and they checked out the machine and the equipment, and they purchased it on the spot and brought it back to Baton Rouge. And now Baton Rouge is the first place in the country that has this technology with a commercial application through Baton Rouge Community College, which will be able to provide the individuals with autism within the Baton Rouge metropolitan area an opportunity to come in and ascertain their driving skills and be able to help them polish up those skills. And then once they get it set through the virtual reality driving system, which kind of involves eye tracking, it's a good way to put all the eye tracking studies to good use, because you need to know where your eyes are when you're driving.
Yeah.
And then they move to an in vivo program where they will actually be doing driving on the road with a goal to help these kids be able to get their licenses and be able to go to work independently or go to Target because they want to go get something or go visit with their friends or other family members. So it's kind of cool.
I
It's
love
great.
this.
They're absolutely great.
And I love that you're playing a role in these things. And that I've always said, Shelley, you're the person I want at the table because you know things that other people don't know. So what an amazing thing that you were able to link that together. But you've been able to link a lot of different things together. We want to shift now to talk about in your home city of Baton Rouge, you guys have been able to strategically put together a plan for autism. Talk to us a little bit about what that plan entails.
We did. We have, here in Baton Rouge, we have an organization called the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, and they're a great community kind of civic engaged organization. And they kept hearing about autism, and they have some people who really approached them and said, you know, we've got to figure out a plan here. We've got to figure out a plan. And y'all know I like to stick my fingers in autism pies. And so an opportunity came up for me to be able to help contribute to that plan and point them, you know, I traveled a lot of places, especially when working for Autism Speaks, so I got to go see a lot of good things, and I was like, maybe you should check out this program there, look at this here, let's take a look at that. And our goal was to try to assemble the pieces of the puzzle, right? Everybody's got their little puzzle piece, but assembling them is when you get to really see a picture. And our goal was to put together a strategic plan in a bunch of different areas, whether it was within the medical community or the research community or education or services and adult issues, to try to find a number of different things that we could work on over the next 5 years that would just enhance the lives for those living with autism here. And what we found was, as the study progressed and more of these conversations happened, the community kind of came out of their silos a little bit more. Now all of a sudden the behavioral people are talking to the medical research people, or they're talking to the hospital, or they're talking to the the adult services people and the housing people and other people are starting to get involved in the projects because we're reaching out for other resources. And what we've found is all that cross-pollination and that cross-collaboration has really exploded with some really cool and exciting ideas that have helped us. One of the projects that we're working on here is to create a match.com between prospective employers and individuals living with autism so that we can match up skill sets and interests with employers that are willing to take a risk. So if we have a kid, like for example, Liam wants to be a baker. My son wants to be a baker. He has zero interest in chopping up an onion or a pepper. He doesn't want to know mushrooms exist. But he super loves butter, sugar, flour, all of that. And so what we would do is work with the individual with autism as much as possible to come up with a self-determination and figure out what their skills are, what their interests are, and then strengthen those and then pair them up with an employer that's like, I'm willing to have this wonderful individual come and work with us here. And we've already been successful through that project. There's another entity here in town called Gateway Transition Center that's done a great job of already getting people raised up, getting them trained, finding employers that'll work, and placing the kids in employment with those employers. So that we're it's all kind of homegrown, and we're not doing anything super fancy, and there's not this big mega budget that's come in and landed anywhere. It's just good people getting together and all working together like a body. Not everybody's working like the right hand. Not like everybody wants to be this guy. They're all taking a different role in the body to accomplish the ultimate goal, which is to make it better for kids.
Okay. So it's in existence right now, this program?
Yes. And they have, they've assembled like a guidance committee, and they have a number of different working committees for those different groups, but it's fostered all kinds of really good conversations, including conversations with the hospital where they're like, we're having more adults with autism coming into the ER. We need to learn how to better make that a better experience, not only for them, but for their families. We kind of know how to handle it in pediatrics, but now that our population is really starting to age and move over into the adult realm, they're starting to see more and more adults with autism come in. And what does that look like, and how do we help make that better for everybody? So it's really been great because it's just fostered so many discussions about how can we really make this better for families so they they're and the individuals with autism so that it's their life experience.
Right.
And it makes a difference. And you make a difference always, Shelley. In fact, you've made such a difference that there is a new place in Baton Rouge that is named after you. Talk to us a little bit about the Shelley Hendricks Autism Center.
So that was kind of just a really amazing thing. There's a great company that's based in Pennsylvania. They operate in 8 different states. They work in the realm of behavioral health. Their name is NHS right now, but they're getting ready to have a name change in April, which totally fits their personality. I can't wait until they reveal that. But they work in behavioral health in all the different aspects. They have an IDD section. They have a section on behavioral health that just works with foster care children and individuals struggling with addiction, or veterans that are reassimilating back into society, or homelessness, all those kinds of things. And then they have an autism and education division, and I started partnering with them and working with them. And they've been wanting to bring their resources for their autism and education division to Louisiana for a while. They've already been in our state with the regular behavioral health component, but they really wanted to bring their autism resources here. And I was like, what? You want to open a center and we don't have to spend 10 years raising money? And so in under a year, they had identified a site, hired the directors, got it all retrofitted to suit our population's needs, and they opened the center. And then when we had the ribbon cutting ceremony, I didn't know that they had done this, but they decided to name it after me, which was a huge, huge honor and giant responsibility.
And well deserved. What an honor.
Yeah.
But really an awesome, kind of amazing sort of moment, not only for our community, but it was a very special thing.
So what does the center offer? What is its purpose right now?
The center has a bunch of different programs, and their goal is they focus in on behavioral health treatment, but the goal is whole person care, and they really kind of look at that from a bunch of different perspectives. And along the continuum, autism, everybody's ready to go by 6 years old. Sometimes it goes past that. So they work with individuals up to the age of 21. Within their division, they actually work with people all across the continuum, and up in Pennsylvania, they have adult living complexes and all kinds of good things that we're hoping to continue to bring to our state. But they do ABA treatment for individuals up to the age of 21, whether it's individual, group, or in-home services, occupational therapy and speech therapy. They have a unique educational program which requires placement, third-party placement through the school system. So that's brand new to Louisiana. We don't have that model. So if a school system is having difficulty, or an individual is having difficulty in the school system, doesn't feel as prepared to be able to handle it on their campus, they can place them at NHS for a short period of time with a least restrictive environment plan, and the goal is to always get them back to campus as quick as we can, so that we can put a behavioral health plan around them, figure out what's working, and then get them reassimilated. And so it's a different school mechanism than some of the schools that we see in Louisiana, where they want to keep the person there from 5 to 21. We only want to keep them there during the duration of whatever the issue is and get them back into the community and their natural supports as quickly as possible. Which I was like, yes, because, that's a good thing. And then they also have a transition program for kids age 16 to 21, and I'm excited about that, working with the older population and being able to, they have like 6 months of life skills training and then 6 months of job skills training. And at the end of the year, the goal is to help them, especially through our other collaborations with the other entities that we're working with, either go on to a higher education if they're a child that's interested in pursuing that, or they're not children anymore, an individual that wants to pursue that. So if they want to go to the autism program that's at Baton Rouge Community College, or if they want to go to classes at LSU or seek education elsewhere, or if they want to go to the Gateway Transition Program and continue working on life skills and job skills to get them job ready, or if they're ready to go ahead and move on into gainful, meaningful employment themselves. And just kind of launch them. And then we have one more tiny transition program, and this one's really personal to me, and I worked with the company to help get this one developed. I'm so excited about it, and it's called the BME Center. And it's for the little kids that are between the ages of 2.5 and their 6th birthday when they're first getting diagnosed. And it is a daycare that's designed for children of all abilities. So it's not just individuals with autism or developmental delay. They can be gifted and talented. They can have Down syndrome or CP or whatever they have going on, or they can just be named Fred and they qualify by age. And they come to the center. If they do need therapeutic services, though, so mom would drop them off at 7:30 in the morning, pick them up at 5:30 at night, so mom's able to continue to go to work. And if they need ABA or speech or OT, then we can pull them out of class. But they still get that pre-kindergarten experience where they get an opportunity to socialize with other peers their age. And that's my favorite spot in the center, because I go in there and those little guys, when they first started, we weren't having good sharing time and not everybody was getting along. But now they're cooperatively playing with each other, and everybody lays down and they're quiet at nap time, so this is a big win. And some of them have mastered potty training just in the last couple of months, so it's really working, and it's exciting for me because when I was a young mother, and I was a young single mother, I couldn't find adequate child care for my child with autism, and he also needed therapy, which meant I had to leave work every day at 1:30 to get him picked up from school, and then sit in an office the rest of the afternoon while he had his therapy done, which made it, a big economic struggle for our family. So our goal was to try to, again, work on whole family care so that our moms can go and they can do their work and their kids are being taken care of and getting the therapies that they need, and then everybody goes home and has dinner, goes to bed, gets up the next day to try.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
What a wonderful legacy you continue to leave. Now, because you're in no way done, but I know you have to go, so we want to thank you for everything that you're doing and for taking the time to update us.
Thank you so much, and we might have something cool coming up in a couple of weeks, so as soon as that becomes like a reality, I'm going to reach back out to you guys.
Please
Okay,
do.
Shelley,
We always
please.
have time for you, Shelley.
Okay, good.
All right,
Thanks for
you
joining
take
us
care.
today.
All right, thanks so
All right,
much.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Really exciting things going on there in Baton Rouge. So.
Baton Rouge. What a lovely, lovely thing. We're going to take a break and then we're going to be back with more Let's Talk Autism. So stick with us.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. 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 Let's get wild.
Hey, welcome back to Autism Live. We heard you. Everybody wants
Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, but we're gonna make it allergy free. But here's what's the crazy part of this macaroni and cheese. It's actually healthy.
And it tastes good.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
That's the most important part.
So we're gonna start. We got our water boiling. There's so many variations on the pasta. We're using today a corn pasta. We can verify with the manufacturer that we have a GMO-free product. So let's go ahead and put that in there.
Ooh,
And if you don't mind, stir that up for
Sure.
me, my friend.
Now it's sticking a little bit to the bottom. Is that okay?
We maybe add a little more high heat oil and spread that around again. One thing you gotta know about gluten-free pasta, if you overcook this, it becomes mush. Let's move this guy over to the other burner so you can see what I'm doing. And now we're gonna start with the old macaroni and cheese sauce. What's great is there's a lot of choices for, different soups. And the way that I look at soups, and again, please follow the recipe on your screen right now. I don't like to measure very often. But what I like to use is a creamy butternut squash soup. So this soup is great because it adds a lot of flavor to the dish, but also gives people another serving of vegetables. With kids, we don't want to over season. Maybe with the adults, we can season some for the kids first, pull it out, serve them, and then add a little more, garlic powder or onion powder or other types of things into your dish. So the next most important thing on this recipe is we're going to add in a thickener and the faux cheese. Now some people like their sauce really thick, so you just add in more cornstarch or more arrowroot, so that's not a big deal. How's that doing? You think it's ready?
I think it's done.
Okay, so why don't we switch? I'll take
Okay.
that, you do that.
Okay.
And I'm going to strain this bad boy here. Here, let me turn that off.
Okay.
Or we're going to cause trouble again.
Trouble in Lisa's
Yeah,
kitchen.
no.
That's another show.
Don't, yeah, right? So I'm going to go ahead, get this all strained. It's a good consistency. So I'm going to check to make sure our pasta is cooked. So really you just want to make sure, just like any pasta, it's a little bit squeezy, a little bit. Nice. Dude, good job. We're
Hey.
good.
Looks yummy.
So even though the cheese is not totally melted, it's okay, don't panic. What's important is that you're gonna love this recipe once you eat it. What I enjoy most about this recipe is that it smells good, but this stuff
perfect.
is amazing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to serve you some up and you can maybe blow a little bit on it so you don't burn your mouth. Sorry, I'm once a mom,
I
always
was
a
like,
mom.
just like we tell our kids.
I know, right?
But I can't wait. I'm excited.
So I'm gonna give a shot of this too, but
Oh my gosh, that is so
this is the ultimate comfort food. So
Oh, it's so
Isn't
good.
it good?
And I'm not just saying that. It is really good. It literally tastes like something our kids would really like. And that sweetness is really, really, really good.
So the bonus for us is that when we're serving this to our kids, they're actually getting a full serving of vegetables in this. So instead of just eating a bunch of carbs and worthless calories, you're actually getting some good stuff in this. And we'll be back next time. I hope you join us again here on Autism Live. We're really loving the feedback, and if you have additional feedback, here's how you get it to us. You can send it to us via email at autism-live@gmail.com. On Facebook, facebook.com/autism-live. And also there's thousands of recipes waiting for you to discover them with pictures and different things on the TACA website. So you can hit TACA on the web, tacanow.org, and we'll be back. Hopefully we'll get to do this again.
I had so much
Maybe
fun.
we'll have a little wine, but you got to join us next time. We'll look forward to seeing you then.
Bye guys, we're gonna keep eating.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
I am Alexis Weinman at the Future Horizons Super Conference in Dallas, Texas. It helped me in a way because it was a format that I was not used to. Like, I had never curled my hair before. I've never worn heels. I didn't know what foundation was. And it was just, it was a very, like, it helped me more in a business sense. Like, I know how to present myself in front of people now. That's something my mom drilled into my head. I have trouble sometimes with it. Like, you introduced yourself to me downstairs, and so I immediately and I've heard of you before, so I was like, I know this person, I can make eye contact with this person. And if I'm talking to someone I don't know, or if I'm listening to someone give a speech, most of the time my head will be down. I don't look at people in the eye, but if it's someone I know I need to make eye contact with, I make eye contact.
I can hear you.
But my mom growing up, she, especially after the diagnosis, she would always grab my hand if I was looking everywhere else but her, and she'd say, look me in the eye. And so she wouldn't let go of my hand until I looked her in the eye. I do feel like I have to do play poet because, sometimes there'll be jokes I don't understand, but I'll laugh at anyway. There will be situations that I'm not comfortable with, but I'm going to have to play along anyway. And I think I just found out I'm just a tremendously amazing liar. I can pretend like I'm uncomfortable with something when in actuality I am screaming inside, or I know the moment I get back to my dorm room I'm going to start screaming or having a meltdown or something like that. But I also know that there is a time and a place because there isn't any safe rooms available in neurotypical society. We have to make our own. And on a college campus, there's not many places you can go and scream without attracting attention.
Autism Live.
The way I explain it to people is, people's brains are like hamster wheels. Eventually, the hamster's got to take a break. Autistic brains aren't like that. They just keep going and going and going. So we can't stop thinking about things. That's why a lot of kids with autism have sleep problems, because they can't fall asleep because they have too much on their brain. They can't sleep because they're thinking too much. And I think just the walking in circles, there's no thought to a circle. It's just, so I'll just plug in my earphones so I can't hear anything else except whatever white noise I'm listening to, and I'll just walk in a circle. I think it's just we are just as prevalent as men with autism. There might not be as many as there are boys, but we are still part of this movement. We're still part of this community, and we just got to remind people that, hey, we're here too. Don't forget about us. One thing I've learned is that, first off, I'm not the only person who is speaking from their own perspective. I feel like I go to some of these conferences and it's a bunch of doctors and a bunch of parents who want to talk and get to know what autism is about, but there's not a lot of people on the spectrum talking about it. And so I come to these and I see Temple Grandin, who's one of the biggest faces in the autism community, actually get up and talk about what helped her and what we need to do in order to get our kids out of society and not in our parents' basements. And so it's just kind of reaffirming, I'm not the only one.
Is that it?
Thank you. Because I'd go to these and I would be the only one. I'd be next to a bunch of doctors and talking about worlds I have not even seen before, let alone pronounce. And I'm just sitting here I did a pageant once. So it's good to know I'm speaking from a perspective of not necessarily overcoming, but learning to live with this, because I feel like not a lot of people come out and say, what it's like to live on the autism spectrum. A lot of people talk about the struggles and everything like that, but they don't talk about, what they've done to make their lives better while living on the spectrum.
Hello, fellow activists. Last week, I introduced you to step 5 of the 10 steps to empowerment, shore up spiritually. Let's talk more about finding ways to do that, how to find out what lifts your spirit, feeds your soul, and make it a practice. That practice is different things for different people. It could be the practice of meditation, of prayer, of community worship, or serving others. But it's the practice that will give you hope and faith and strength for the journey ahead, for the marathon journey of raising a child with autism. I get inspired every day by the families of children with autism that I come into contact with, like the parents of the nonverbal child who have not given up hope that that child will speak one day, or the grandparents who should be enjoying their retirement but instead are joyfully raising their adult grandchild with autism, or the mother who is fighting for services for her daughter while her Marine husband is fighting a battle to keep our country safe. They all inspire me. My grandmother, Diddy, who is an angel who still guides me every day, had this quote inscribed in her Bible. I sought my soul, but my soul I could not see. I sought my God, but my God eluded me. I sought my brother, and I found all three. I think I'm finally starting to grasp the meaning of that. So feed your soul, lift your spirit, and until next time, keep the faith.
And welcome back to Let's Talk Autism.
We're really excited. Great guest.
we
We
do.
just had one great guest.
Right.
And another great guest joining us right now is Janny Meyer. And she is from the Fullerton School Board.
Yeah, she is the board vice president of the
Which
Fullerton
is
School
very
District.
impressive. I'm impressed. And she's joining us via Skype right now. So welcome to the show, Janny.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And I was just saying that I believe that you and I have met before. I know that we've met before at the Mardi Gras for autism in the past. And because you're one of the people that is a real rock star at that event, you take it really to heart and get all dressed up, gussied up for the Mardi Gras for autism. You're there representing. And that's an amazing thing because you have this other life that's with the Fullerton schools. Let's start with that. What is your role with the Fullerton schools?
I am on the Fullerton School Board. I'm one of the board trustees of 5, and we are in charge of the whole school district of about 13,000 kids and the programs that we have, making sure that we're solvent in budget and making sure that our kids are safe and having a fabulous education.
Now, you and your husband are very active in Fullerton. He's a retired Fullerton city manager, and you were elected to the board in 2010. Tell us about this event you've got coming up, your 9th annual Free Family Carnival event, Mardi Gras for Autism.
Yes, we're really excited about that. It is a Mardi Gras celebration to bring the community together to raise awareness for autism. It started years ago as a little carnival kind of celebration outside one of our downtown restaurants, and it has grown to take over the entire parking lot over the years. A very, very fun event where community comes together. It supports autism, and many of the events are focused for autistic children. However, that is not the goal. The goal is that everybody gets involved in it.
And that's really what happens.
Right.
And I love that event. Like, it's one of my favorite days of the year because the whole of Fullerton shows up to be inclusive. It is a model for everybody.
Yeah, how did that come to be that Fullerton became so supportive of autism and those with autism spectrum disorders?
I would say one of the catalysts for it becoming a very successful community event and the awareness would be the organization called Fullerton Cares, which Larry Hauser is a very, very prominent figure in the city, bringing awareness. And then all of a sudden he brings this to an event that everybody goes, what is this all about? And now they know what it's all about.
Well, and one of the things that I find so remarkable about Fullerton that I wish we could spread across the entire world is the way in which other people saw what Larry was doing and then stepped up. Here you were being on the board of the school district. How did you get pulled into this, Janny? How did you first see it, and what made you go, oh, I got to be a part of this?
Well, it's kind of a story. When I was elected, one of my first schools that I visited was Commonwealth. And Commonwealth was one of our autistic schools. And there was a little garden that they had, which was in need of some help. And so Larry came on board, and that's where I met him. He donated money, he worked the garden, and instead of it becoming just an area where the kids can explore, it was a sensory garden that you wouldn't believe turned into overnight. And when I visited that and saw students, it was still in its very early years of growth because it was isolated from the rest of the school. And Larry wanted to make sure that it wasn't just an autistic garden, it was a community garden where everybody participated. And over the years, we have these gardens, we have these sensory playground apparatus for everybody, not just the autistic kids. So when the autistic kids are playing in it, everybody is. You don't know the difference between a sixth grader, an autistic child, a fifth grader. It doesn't matter. Everybody is interacting. And that is the gem of what Larry created in these autistic gardens.
You actually have a sensory room for special education students at one of your schools, Sunset Lane Elementary School, right?
Yes, and we invite all students. We also have we have Golden Hills, Sunset Lane, and Commonwealth. We have 3 schools that are identified. However, you would not really know that it was just for the autistic kids. And that's the whole point of pulling the community together so that the autistic children are integrating and playing. They're getting along with everybody, and that's the whole purpose of developing the social skills of these students.
And you actually have sensory-friendly activities at the Mardi Gras event, don't you?
Oh, yes. And we're going to have some really fun things this year. We have and I'm going to read what it is. It's an ice lounge in the sensory garden. Now, I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm really excited to see it. An ice lounge where the kids can go in. They roll around in the balls. They go in rooms. Every year, there's always like 3 or 4 more incredible things. It's grown so much.
Well, and I want to go back to the collaborative nature of the relationship because, I love Larry Hauser. I think that he is one of the stand-up men on the planet. I sing his praises all the time. I think that he's remarkable. And I think that one of his many gifts is that he's able to get other people excited about something. But the idea of getting a school district, we were saying at the start of the show, imagine being able to have an event in your community that is for autism and having the school and the school board members get excited and wanting to volunteer and wanting to help and support. Like, that's just crazy talk to most of us because a lot of times we're struggling and fighting with school districts instead of having them come and party with our kids in the street and be there to fully support. So I just wanted to give you a second, Janny, if you would, to talk about how has Fullerton and how have Fullerton kids benefited from the school district taking part and being involved with Fullerton Cares? Because you've both helped each other, right?
Oh, yes. It's definitely a partnership between Fullerton Cares and the Fullerton School District. Besides the fundraising that happens with Fullerton Cares and a couple of the events that they do, they've given over $100,000 to the school district and supporting them. And our school district supports Fullerton Cares. For instance, we have a foundation, the Fullerton Education Foundation, where we raise money for teacher grants and for technology. And when Fullerton Cares participates, whatever they donate, whether it be an auction item or working the event, we give that right back to Fullerton Cares. We don't charge them, so it's a partnership where they gain, we gain, the kids gain, and it's a win-win for everyone. And Larry's awareness has really helped the parent grasp what we're doing, because he goes in, talks with them, and we have an amazing program in Fullerton. The teacher training, the staff development, the budget that we put in shows that we really have a priority for the programs in Fullerton.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. We're almost out of time, but I want to ask you really quickly, because we love this event. What's your favorite thing? What do you love about the Mardi Gras for Autism?
Well, I get a little crazy at events, and I love the tall men on their stick and watching the kids come up to them, and Medieval Times comes, and just the energy. It's just exciting to see everybody, whether you're an adult, a child, autistic, you're a high school student, a teacher, everybody coming out and just getting overly excited about the event. And I'll tell you, rain or shine, it's 100% participation. One year we flooded, but boy, everybody was there having a great time, and we will continue to do that.
Let's talk about the date
I was
again.
there that year, by the way.
Yeah, you were? Okay.
Wet socks and all, but
Okay.
it was a life-changing day.
Right.
It really was.
Okay, let's
Amazing.
talk about the date and where people can go for information.
There is an online website.
We've got the poster. We can put it up
Okay.
there.
All right, yeah.
Okay. It's right there. So Saturday, April 7th. It's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's in the middle. It's in the train. It's right by the train station. You can park in the train depot. It's amazing. But you know what? Fullerton is amazing, Janny. There's something magical there. What do you think the magic is in Fullerton?
Well, I'm a very, very, I've been here since 1961. My family's participated, and I believe people come to Fullerton for the schools and they stay here for the hospital. It is a total community city. And the thing about Fullerton is everything is centralized. You can get there without going to too many stoplights, so everybody's together. And we have so much to offer, and it's just a great city.
Great community spirit.
It really is. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and thank everybody with the school district for being a part of this, because we outside of Fullerton notice it. I'm sure people in Fullerton notice it. It's a right thing. You're doing an amazing job.
And before I go, please join us for Mardi Gras on April 7th.
Okay.
I
Thank you, Janny.
I will be there, Janny.
Thank you
I
for
wouldn't miss
joining us
it.
today.
Thank you so much.